Hello, it's time for episode 3 of going from concept to prototype. If you haven't seen 1 and 2, go back now and this might make a lot more sense. So what did we do in the last video? We went from rendering to getting basic user input going, and in this one we're going to take that and we're going to add in an asteroid. Let's have a quick look to see where we were at. Just to remember, a rocket that can move around with keys. Simple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in an asteroid, because the original concept had an asteroid in the middle, asteroids that you were dodging. Let's just quickly have a quick look at that. The original concept, design, cool, right. So this was the original concept. These little 3 things here are the asteroids. This is a rocket, it's coming out, you've got to dodge them. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to work on the asset. Now this isn't a how to do Blender tutorial, so I've already made the asset yesterday. It's a very simple rock. Looks a bit eventually like this. Yeah, I really should probably get a faster computer. This is getting ridiculous now. There it is. It's a low poly model and it's got a diffuse texture on it. It's also got a normal texture on it, but we're not going to use that in this one. That'll be in the next video, probably. Okay, first thing we're going to do is let's get that into the project and rendering. That's very similar to what I did before in the last one. Java update available, how exciting. It always seems there's a Java update available. Add, image, TGA. Adding in the diffuse texture to start with. So rock, diffuse. Now I've already added in the files into the folder structure because that's pretty boring. So they're already here. Small rock, diffuse. There we go, simple diffuse map. And then a model. Add exactly the same as before. Model, obj, rock, mesh. Okay. Now we need to associate the actual file. Again, I've already put that there. I called it low because it was the low poly version. And diffuse texture, rock diffuse. And the normal texture is going to be the exact same normal that's used on the ship, which is just a blank normal. Apply, close, save. Now to get it rendering in the scene, we have to add it to the scene. Rock mesh, go. Apply, close, and save. So now when we run, there will be a rocket and a rock. They have no idea what each are. You can go straight through the rock. Not much of a game. Also, this rock's not even moving. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to move this rock further out of the screen. What I'm going to hopefully do, if this is the camera, I'm going to put the rock higher than it so you can't see it, and then the rock is going to move and then into view and eventually disappear. So let's quickly move it up to its starting position, which is going to be the y-axis, and that wants to be plus. You can see that. How it's taking effect. It's going to go straight through the camera. I don't know, 6. Okay, that's now at 6. So obviously we can't see it anymore. Close that, save. Now I'm going to add the script in to give it a bit of the action of moving through. This is very similar to what I did before. So again, add in a new script. Render script, rock script. Now I could put the logic into ship script because that runs every frame as well, but this nicely separates things and means that the rock stuff's in the rock script, the ship stuff's in the ship script. Yeah, just before I do this, I'm going to, my camera's getting in the way, I'm going to associate with the rock mesh. I've got a good way of forgetting to do that and getting confused. So do that, and I'm also going to turn on play render script, so it's going to be running by default. Apply, close, save. Right, same as before, this is a render script, and what it's going to do is going to update every frame. So I don't want frame-based movement, I want time-based movement. Use my little helper to bring that in. Now we need access to the variables I'm going to change. In this case I'm going to change the y-axis of the rock. So we'll call this rock y. And go to models, find our rock, and go position Y. Great. So now rock Y is the Y position of the rock. So if we load that in, rock y equals rock y. That just brings in the value into a local variable. Rock y, and it's going to be minus, equals time-based movement. I have no idea. 3. Yeah, let's make it 5. This is a number I can tweak to give different balance to the game, and then load that back into rock y. Great. And same as before, I need to wrap that and ensure that the case where FPS is 0 is handled, which is pretty much happens when you first start the engine. Or if I guess something happens that you didn't expect. Okay, so now when we run this, what we should see is a rock that falls from the out of frame into frame, and it'll just keep falling forever. Let's see that. There we go, there it goes through, falling forever, no interaction with the ship, we didn't expect it to. Right, okay. Next thing I want to do is I want to have a different start position for the rock, because at the moment it's just in the center. That's going to be pretty obvious to dodge. So I'm going to do is I'm going to start the X and the Y from different positions, and I'm going to do that randomly. Let's try that now. So if I import random, and I now need access to rock X and rock Y. Rock X, model mesh, position X, and rock Y, rock Z rather, model, rock mesh, and position Z. Okay, now let's just quickly put that in. So let's come up with a random position. So let's go X, which is a local variable, equals, let's do random dot rand int, and we're going to go -5. Again, this can be tweaked to figure out the play space. It'll be dependent on the camera, but -5. Let's see how that does. X and Y, Z equals. We're going to do exactly the same. -5, 5. Great. And now we're going to load those in to rock X equals X, and then rock Z equals Z. Now, there's a little problem with this. This is going to run every frame. So at the moment, the rock would change position in the X and Z axis every frame as it comes down, which is not what we want. We want to initialize this once when it first starts. So I need a variable to know when this is the first time this has happened. So I'm going to add a new one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a slightly different place. So model, rock mesh. These are all the properties that are associated with the rock, so mostly to do with rendering. So position, rotation, scale, diffuse textures, but you can actually have another one. You can add your own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this rock active. Have that as an integer, and then initially that's going to be 0. The rock is not active. Apply, close, save. Now if I go back to the script and I need access to that new variable I made, it's exactly the same as getting access to the other variables. So let's just call it active, and then we go to models, rock mesh, and we'll see it has been added. So now we've got a rock active, and it's called active. So what we're going to do is if active equals 0, if active equals 0, which it does to start with, then we're going to run this part here. Now to make sure this doesn't then run again, we need to set active to 1. Right, first thing that's going to happen is it's going to set a new random position. That's going to then put active to 1, and then it's going to move further down. The next time it loops around, it'll completely skip this, and it'll just carry on coming down. Let's see if it works. Apply, close. Now if this works, what I expect to see is the rock starting in different positions every time I run the program. Okay, seems to have moved. Let's try and run it again. Yep, Great, it's kind of what I expected. In fact, it's exactly what I expected. Now, obviously we've got a problem, which is it's going to keep going forever. We don't really want that, so I'm going to have it a limit. If it goes past a certain point, we're going to reset. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is detect the case. So here's the rock when it starts, here's the camera view, it's going to go into the camera view, the rocket's probably about here, it's going to go past the rocket, it's going to go on for a little bit longer, and then we're going to detect, say, the value here, and when it goes past there, it's going to reset, and it's going to go back to the top, but maybe from a different position. Let's try and do that. So, to do that, we just need to analyze rock Y. If rock Y is less than -8, I don't know, we'll see if that's a good number. We're going to set rock active back to 0 equals 0. So now we've gone to there, we set rock active back to 0, and what that'll do is the next time it runs round, it will actually activate back this branch, create a new X and a Z, load those in, and active goes back to 1, and we start again. But at the moment, we don't change rock Y, so that means that this will always be called, it's just going to get lower and lower. So when we initialize, we have to set rock Y. Now to start with, that will be setting rock Y to the exact same value as rock Y is to start with, which will do nothing. But afterwards it's going to make it so it's always going to reset. It's going to do this. Equals, what was it? 5. Was it 6? Equals 6. Let's quickly just check. So originally, there we go, starts at 6. We're going to just reset that each time. Rock X equals 6. And that's, yeah, I think that should work. Rock Y rather, yeah. Great. You probably can hear a lot of background noise. I'm outside of this tent that we're living in at the moment. This is not sponsored by anybody, so I guess it's sponsored by me. So if you're interested in this stuff, we also do a vlog of our strange life that we've created in order to try and make things like this. If you go to youtube.com/live life in a box, you will see how we're managing to live. If you're interested in that, head there now. I'm going to put a little link at the top. Cool, and let's go and see if this works. So now when I run, I expect a rock to fall, then disappear, and then another one comes. And that should go on forever. We should then also be able to pretend we're playing the game. So there, rock fell, it disappeared, another one comes, it disappears. Yeah, cool. Now obviously it still does nothing if I get hit. We're going to deal with that in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and please share it, put it on Twitter, put it on Facebook, show people, and comment below, say if you enjoyed it. If not, I'm also going to put this onto itch. I'm going to update it now, so you'll be able to download it and play this. Not really a game at the moment, but it might be interesting. Let's do that just quickly. Deploy straight to itch. Let's see if we've got any internet. Great. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.